You ready? Call the meeting of the regular board meeting of Lathrop-Manteca Fire District to order. Roll call.
Vice Chair Gish.
Here.
Director Payton. Here. Director Robert Gleason.
Present.
Everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Declaration of conflict of interest.
None.
Presentations.
Oh, doesn't move. I have to lean over, so over here.
Is it like stuck to the table
Yeah,
now?
Chief Isham is going to come up and introduce I believe, the captain in charge of the CERT team, and he will then introduce the new CERT members.
Good evening, Vice Chair Gish, Director Payton, Director Gleason. Mic check.
There we go.
All right, good evening, Vice Chair Gish, Director Payton, Director Gleason, Mike Isham, C-Shift Battalion Chief, Lathrop Fire. Just wanted to fill you guys in that we graduate our second CERT Academy. So we have some new folks coming through and ready to be called out if we need them to assist. So at this time, I'm gonna bring up Captain Keith Connor. He's the main player with doing this academy and was the one teaching them. He's gonna come up and introduce the folks that were able to make it and let you guys see some new faces. So thank you guys for your support. Captain Connor.
All right, Vice Chair, Directors, it's my pleasure tonight to present to you guys the latest group of CERT members. These folks have dedicated and volunteered 3 of their Saturdays, all voluntary, to learn valuable tools that they can use to help themselves and their community in a time of disaster. The topics that we covered during this course over the 3 Saturdays, we talked about disaster preparedness, search and rescue, terrorism awareness, we did first aid, CPR training, disaster psychology, and we covered fire suppression. So over 3 days, there's quite a bit to cover, and we had to take a lot of breaks. Lots of coffee, lots of donuts, but it was a good time. I'm pleased to say we had 14 people that were in this class. All 14 of the individuals that were in this class did complete volunteer applications and have all decided that they want to stick with the program and they want to assist the fire district and the community in any capacity they can moving forward. So that's very exciting. Awesome for them to do that. They're willing and they're very hopeful to have those opportunities to help our community and serve our community. So that's great to have them on board. So without further ado, I'll introduce the members that are here now. I think there's a couple maybe coming in still. I did have a couple that were out of town, weren't able to make it for various reasons, vacation, prior commitments. So I'll make sure that I get them their completion certificates when they're back available. But first and foremost, so when I call your names, if you'd please come up, I got a nice certificate for you. We give you a round of applause and go from there, all right? So first we have Charles Bagshaw. Perfect. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I probably should have introduced the CERT members here. This is the fire chief, Chief Neely. So, yeah, his signature's right there on the bottom right-hand side of your certificate. Stephanie Helmbold. Absolutely. I believe I just saw her walk in. Margot Berenberg. Margot? Yeah, here we go. All right, Brenda Just. Brenda make it? No? All right. Yeah, she might be here later. Deborah Cassidy. Jose Castaneda. Thank you. Oh. We've got Haley Salazar here. Bob Hall. Thank you very much. Thank you. Jesse Salazar Sr. Kimberly Salazar. Awesome, thank you very much. And last but not least, Michelle Anderson. All right, so I'd also like to acknowledge, we do have 4 CERT members that have been with us for a long time. So Deborah Smith, thank you very much for all your help. We've got Sharita Fry here as well. Mr. Benny Gatto. And Tosh Ishihara. So that with the 4 folks that were unable to attend is going to round up our current CERT team. And we're looking at other opportunities to expand, and we have a lot of ideas, so it's only going to get better from here. But I'd like to thank all of you CERT members for all of your dedication, your commitment to community service, and it takes a lot to volunteer, and we really appreciate it. So thank you very much. And then, would we like to get a picture?
Yeah, definitely. If I can get
Awesome.
the board together with the new CERT members and
All you CERT members, if you'd like to come up, new and existing, old members, absolutely. Let's get in here. I didn't mean that whole
There you go, just like that. Jesse, turn the other way now. This way. Yeah, now you guys can face that way. Oh, that works. Works perfect, right?
I think after our next class, we're gonna have to take a picture.
We got more room.
We're gonna get to that point. Are we all fit?
Can we all get everybody in?
We can get.
If not, we
are there. We got all the way there. All right.
Yeah, I got room for the cords.
That'll work. Rip it all along. All right, Chief.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, if we can see those certs. Let's see those certificates. All right.
It's in there.
Okay, perfect. Smiles. And here we go, one more. Thank you very much. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You did good.
Good job, guys. What?
Look at me like you have something in your back. It's like Margaret, we're Margaret.
I never understood to say. I'm on good behavior tonight.
So before the board gets an opportunity to address the new members, I just want to kind of brief you a little bit of what our plan is. So we're planning to start a call out for them. We're going to work on that. But we also want to get some signups and start staffing one of the vehicles that we have. We're going to be, right now we're temporary using it for an inspection. inspector, but we're going to be getting a couple vehicles, and I'll be bringing that next month to you to put the inspectors in, and then we're going to use the vehicle that we have that we had already addressed for the CERT team, and then maybe potentially start staffing that on a volunteer basis, obviously, and having it ready with water, and all they would have to do is potentially get ice and get food. We've had a couple call-outs the other day, not for necessarily for the CERT, but they would have been useful to come out and for rehab and some other resources out there on some of the fires and bring some stuff out. So we'll be doing that over the next few weeks, and we'll bring you an update on that when that happens. But feel free to have any comments you want for the new members.
Go ahead, Bob.
Welcome aboard. So after 9/11, there was a scramble as to what to do with volunteers. And then after Katrina, there was another scramble. And it seems like every disaster, there's always a group of individuals who come out of the woodwork to volunteer, and law enforcement and fires and FEMA and everybody else, what do we do with all these volunteers? So CERT is a very integral part of the response to an emergency. It also has to do with preparation of a community. As the more members we get involved in CERT, the more prepared hopefully you are taking the information home and preparing you and your family for something that may occur here in this area. So welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, and I'm a proponent of preparation and becoming self-reliant, so thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, congratulations for completing the program, but more importantly, thank you for your willingness to step up. In a former life, I was actually a firefighter. Seems like it was a former life years and years ago. But as a firefighter, I know how good it feels to show up at the scene of a catastrophe or an important incident and see trained civilians, we call them civilians, that are willing to step up and do what it takes to make a difference. So for that, I want to thank you all for your willingness to be a part of the solution. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you, congratulations, and welcome aboard. All right, moving on, public comment?
We have no
No.
speakers at this time.
Okay. Item 8, consent calendar.
Eight point one, May 17th, 2018, regular board meeting minutes. 8.2, monthly register of warrants. 8.3, receive and file June 2018 incident and training report. 8.4, receive and file monthly year-to-date budget report.
Have a motion?
I have a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do the vote.
Roll call. Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton. Yes. Director Gleason.
Yes. So simple when it's just the three of us, isn't it?
All right, 9.1, approve and adopt resolution R-21806, 2018-2019 fiscal year provisional GAN limit.
So every year, we have a GAN limit that we're not to exceed on our taxing and our budgeting. And so that's, we have to do a resolution for each one of those. The GAN limit through Prop 4, government spending limit, it exceeds somewhere around 16 million, and our budget is nowhere near there. So I think we're in good shape that we won't exceed that, but we do have to adopt a resolution recognizing we can't go over that.
So open it up for public comment.
We'll have to open a public hearing, don't we? Yes, you have to officially say open public hearing.
Open public hearing. Do we have anybody from the public that'd like to speak? Seeing none? We'll close it right. Close the public deal. Do I have any comments from the board?
None.
Entertain a motion.
That we approve and adopt resolution R-218-6 and 218-219. So I'm good. Make the motion.
Second.
Got a,
Only 9.1,
9.1,
because each
yeah.
one's a different public hearing.
got a motion and a second. Roll call?
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton,
Yes.
Director Gleason,
Yes.
9.2, approve and adopt resolution R 218-07, 2018-2019 fiscal year tax rates.
So these are the fiscal rates for, the rates that we provide for our override tax that we have, that's been established since 1983. And it, shortly after that, it was maxed out to there's several taxes, but mainly the ones we deal with are the .03, so 3 cents a square foot for residential, and the 6 for commercial and 8 for industrial that we collect, that helps our budget fund a lot of resources, especially in our rural area and in our city. That it's not going to go up. I don't foresee us dropping it down. It's been at that rate for, like I said, several years, so we're going to continue to keep it up at that rate.
All right. Open the public hearing. Do you have anyone from the public that'd like to speak? Closed. Any comments from the board?
It's nice that we don't change much other than other people we've gotten notices in the mail for, like my landscaping district.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the only comment I have.
All
Why
right.
can't other people keep it the same, like we do?
Have a motion? Entertain a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2018-07.
I second it.
All right, have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton,
Yes.
Director Gleason,
Yes.
9.3, approve and adopt resolution R 2018-08, 2018-19 fiscal year annual budget.
Okay, so last month, we adopted the provisional budget. We had a few changes in there, and I'm going to go over that with the PowerPoint presentation, but everything else stayed the same. I just put on the presentation anything that did change that's going to affect the budget at the end. So let's start off with, we're presenting the final budget for the fire board to adopt. Prior to this request, the budget has been reviewed by the board. The staff and all line personnel assigned to individual projects in an effort to assess the needs for upcoming 2018-19 fiscal year. So the document that you have the full document. We also have copies that are in the back if people want to see the final budget. But the document in front of you today represents the projected funding needed to achieve those needs and continue with the day-to-day operations for the fiscal year of 18-19. So we did have a couple changes in the reserve fund. We believe that there's going to be additional revenue that does come in a little bit, and so we did put some additional revenue. We have a update about 38,000, and so as you see, the general fund will have 38,000 difference, and actually that should be in the red. Those two should be in the red. I made them green just to show that they were a change, but they're in the red. They went down from what they were. We do have additional funding, hopefully, that's going into the reserve budget, but we won't know that until the final budget comes through, the final numbers come through at the end of the month. Okay? So there is $38,760 additional spending that took out from that reserve. So we are going to have an opening balance. We're going to be adding $200,000 to the reserve budget, or to the opening balance. We're taking that over through the carryover. We had more money, I believe, coming over through the carryover than we expected. We're applying that to the overall budget, and you'll see at the 5-year model, if you look in the back, how that changes for our 5-year plan. Property tax secured was a $1,000 increase. So after doing some final numbers on that, we bumped that up $1,000. So the expenditures really come from the salary. You have $13,000 in additional salary, and this mainly is due to the full-time staff. We're going to take the part-time office personnel that we talked about, and we're going to move that individual into a full-time spot this next fiscal year. So that changes all the numbers, because every time you change the salary and wages, it's going to change the retirement, it's going to change Social Security, and then healthcare insurance obviously goes up when you take somebody from part-time to full-time. So that's where mainly that 38,000 came from. Workman's comp did go up. It will go up a little over $1,000. It's at the end, it's a $38,761 difference from the original rollover that we expected for the fiscal year. So we still have $142,789. It gives us somewhat of a buffer if we have some additional spending or something breaks down that we've had this year, quite a few engines. So that gave us room to pay for those expenses. Questions?
Just to reiterate, that we've been discussing this since April,
Yeah.
with hearings and discussions and questions and going back and forth. And then last month, looking at the preliminaries and now the final. So those at home know that this is a long process. This isn't just something that comes up at the last minute, oh, it's time for budget. No, we're involved and discussed with personnel and looking at last year, comparing what we're going to do this year, and future plans of stations and engines and personnel. It's all been hashed out. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It starts with the strategic operational plan that the board sits down and does, and that's really the marching orders that sets out for staff to start coming up with how you want to see the department run, and we bring those solutions to you. And the end is, it costs money to do business, so.
Right. Open the public hearing. Do you have anyone from the public that'd like to speak? Close the hearing. Anything else from the board?
No, I make a motion that we approve and adopt resolution R 2018-8 and 2019 fiscal year ending budget. I'll second.
You got a motion and a second. Roll call?
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton? Yes. Director Gleason?
Yes.
On the scheduled items, 10.1.
I'm going to bring up Battalion Chief Capper. He's going to go over the resolution for the equipment finance lease. As you remember, we've already gone through this. This is a new development purchase out of fire facility fees. It probably talks about that in the PowerPoint a little bit. And then we've already approved the purchase of that, went through the bidding process, approved the purchase, and we need the resolution adopted by the board. Go ahead.
Good evening, Vice Chair and Directors. This is Battalion Chief Josh Capper. This is item number 10.1. The Fire Chief is requesting that the Fire Board to adopt a resolution for the PNC Equipment Finance, that's Pierce Financing, lease purchase of a new Type 3 fire engine for River Island Station 35. As you know, with the construction of the new fire station in River Island is underway, it is necessary for the district to purchase a new fire engine to be housed and operated out of Fire Station 35. At the April 2018 regular Fire Board meeting, as a part of the district's capital improvement plan, the board approved the purchase of a new Type 3 fire apparatus for Station 35. After conducting the bid process in accordance with the purchasing policy, Pierce was the most responsible bidder to meet the criteria for the purchase. Pierce Financing has provided their standardized resolution for the lease purchase agreement, and the lease purchase will be a 7-year term and funded out of the fire facility fees. There's the bidding matrix if you want to see it. You, I think, have that in your packet as well. Move on. Are we still looking? Okay. So staff is requesting that the board adopt the resolution authorizing the fire chief to enter into an agreement with PNC Pierce Financing for the lease purchase of the new Type 3 fire engine for Station 35. The fiscal impact is approximately $419,259.94, and it'll be funded out of the fire facility fee account. Any questions?
Mine isn't bolted down. I can move it around. So is that engine and equipment? 400,000.
No.
That's
the engine.
just the engine.
Yes.
So we're gonna come back with more stuff later.
Yeah, because Although the fire facility fee account is pretty healthy, it's got a little bit, about 1.6 million in it. We have enough money to pay for it outright, but we don't like to take our money out of one account when we're going to be collecting more money through that account to pay for the station and the other Type 1 engine that's coming and the Type 3. So we want to make sure that we have the money in there to pay it, but we want to make sure that we pay it over a time because the interest is really, really low. However, the equipment, I don't want to fund that. I'd rather not pay any interest on that. So when we come back for that, that'll be just a purchase. That's why we separate the two.
Okay, why do we need another engine 30?
So we need another engine 30 to respond to the area, that area specifically. Engine 30 was really purchased through fire facility fees to respond to this side, the Mossdale, that impacted where you have the river bottoms in that area, the rural portion of that area to respond to. There's a significant amount that's undeveloped in that area that won't ever be developed, and it'll be somewhat of a wildland interface. The engine 35, brush 35, I should say, is going to be needed over in the rural area. So if that Type 3 was out, either mutual aid or out of county or other, we'd still have a Type 3 available to respond to the River Islands area.
So when the fire broke out along the railroad tracks 2 years ago,
Yeah.
the response would have been quicker. We're going to kind of push that like it happened after our station's built.
Yeah.
The response would have been quicker. The knockdown would have been a lot better, and the threat for building really wouldn't have been there because we would have had a brush apparatus in a closer proximity to that kind of incident.
Yeah, absolutely. That plays a huge role into it. And we probably take our Type 1s a little bit too far into the wildland interface when we start getting them on top of the levees, and it can be damaging to the levees, and it's just not a good practice to be in. So that's why we need to have the Type 3s.
That's all I have. Thank you.
You have anything to add? I have nothing. Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt 10.1.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton, Director Gleason,
Yes. I want to kind of mess with him and say no.
10.2, adopt resolution R 2018-10 purchasing procedure policy.
Okay, so I think last month or the
Month before.
The month before, yeah. We brought to you the purchasing policy, and you guys approved that. You approved that, but we have to formalize that through adoption of a resolution. And so we're bringing that in front of you today to adopt resolution 2018-10 purchasing policy.
I have no questions about it. We kind of hashed that all out the first time we went through.
We did.
A lot. So I'm ready to make a motion. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and adopt 10.2.
Motion and a second. Roll call?
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton, Director Gleason,
Yes.
10.3.
Okay, this is a big one. This one is the approve and authorize the fire chief to execute the Fire Station 35's construction and purchase agreement between Lathrop-Manteca Fire and River Islands Development, LLC. So this is for the station that's over there off Summerston, as you can see, not through your ring, but we can see through, as we drive over the bridge, we can see that station's coming right along. It's got I think it's almost got it all framed up now, and they're working on some of the final roofing sections. So it's time to get this is gonna be a turnkey. As we've built this station, the option when we went into the agreement for the mitigation agreement, the option was for the developer either to build the station and turn it over to us, or for us to build the station by going through the bid process and hiring a contractor. So the board at that time opted to let the developer build the station, but however, we controlled the design and construction phase of that, where we hired the architect and we built it to our standards, so that the builder would be able to perform the design and construction in accordance with the board's wishes. So that was done. We took care of that. Now we're getting to the purchase agreement where it comes for the land, because the land has to be purchased. And again, that all comes out of fire facility fees, and the station has to be constructed, which is being done now. So just to refresh your memory, we went into a mitigation agreement with River Islands. And with that agreement, it was required because as we build there, we collect fees in order to build stations. However, that station is on the other side of the river. We have the bridge in now, which helps. But we want to make sure that we have that response time that we seek, that 4 to 5 minute response time. So it triggered the station to be built. So with that happening, there's not enough homes to be built to pay for that station at this point. We'll collect fees that will continue to pay for the station, but we put in our mitigation agreement that the developer would have to build the station, fund it, and then we would slowly pay them back as we collect the fees as the development built out. Because there's always has to be a fire station to respond to the emergencies, and sometimes the build out is what pays for it, but it's not built out but you need the station first. So that's kind of the position we're in. We're at this point where we need to execute the agreement for the purchase and the construction, and so we'll just work through that. I've been paying close attention because when we did the financial analysis on this, one of the things that I looked at is over the 20 years, a 22-year project that this is, it requires 2 stations, apparatus and staffing. We also did a mitigation for the staffing, and we can go into detail if you'd like to talk about the staffing mitigation. However, just for the construction of the station and the engines, we were able to make sure that we secure them so that they'll be there for the citizens that need that. With Station 35, we're at the point where we're going to execute the agreement for the construction and the purchase of the land, and so we need to go into agreement with them. I've provided that for you. I gave you, I think, ample time to review it. Our attorney has gone through it. They've already reviewed it, and we're at the point to execute it. Is there any questions?
No questions. Oh, and again, because we've discussed this, this is, again, nothing new. This is for people watching at home. We have been working with River Islands. The city has been working, and the district, with River Islands for 20 years now, with the development and working with them and what the response time is, what our role is going to be, all of that. So this is not a new, something that just popped up. This is just the next phase, and we got one more station out there at build out. So we'll be doing this again with River Islands.
We do. We'll probably be potentially building another station outside of River Islands in the near future here soon. We got some large developments coming in that we're going to be looking at a station at McKinley. That's going to be the next station. We're already working on doing some land over there with Pilkington because we want to have a corner lot also. So that'll be probably the next one that comes in front of you. Again, I've been looking at the financial analysis. We may have to increase fire facility fees at some point in the near future because the cost of construction is getting up there. We come in pretty good with this one at a little about 5.2-ish million, and we're finalizing some of that documentation with the construction. But as the construction costs start going up because of the cost for steel and wood and lumber and just labor alone is hard to get labor because of it's hard to get trades anymore. People are paying double time now for a lot of the wages out there. So as that goes up, I'll be bringing back potentially an increase in the fire facility fee when we do the analysis every year. We do that in October.
Okay. That's all I need.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion for 10.3, approve and authorize the fire chief to execute Fire Station 35's construction and purchase agreement between Lathrop-Manteca Fire District and River Islands Development LLC.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call?
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Director Payton, Director Gleason,
Yes.
Chief's report.
Okay. Update on staffing and testing. So we have completed a captain's test, believe it or not. I know. Isn't that exciting? That's the hardest test to get through as an organization. It's the best job there is, right? You're in charge of a company. So the captain test was completed. We got that done, and we have initiated 3 acting captains. They were offered positions, so they're starting and they're going to be sitting on the 25th is their official start date of June, and they'll be riding on the rescue for now until the station's completed. And then Off of that list, we'll be potentially hiring 3 captains to fill that station. And then we're gonna have to hire engineers too, so we got another promotion coming up. But we're growing, and there's some growing pains with that, as we talked about, that succession planning and bringing people in, and now we have a brand-new station that we have to staff with 9 personnel, 3 captains, 3 engineers, and 3 firefighters. So we're working towards that. We hired the firefighters and we got them all set, but we still need to get the engineers taken care of, and that's the next phase of the testing process. So all the staffing looks good. We just sent nine people to hazmat? 9?
8 total for a total of 5 per shift.
Yeah. We sent 8 people. We got grants for hazmat technician. We sent 8 people, and they're finishing up. This is their last week, D week. And so they'll be completed. Now we have 5 hazardous material technician on every shift to be able to respond to hazmat. So we're looking pretty good, and we're going to look for any other grants out there. We'd like to get them to specialists. That'll be our next opportunity to send them to that and get them all taken care of. I think we got a great group of individuals, this last group. Some of them took that hazardous material technician spot, so it's looking really good out there. Fireworks booth. Fireworks booth's coming up. Behind the Fire is doing their thing with that, and they're going to be posting some thing. Everybody's gotten on GroupMe, that I'm assuming. I know I sent you a link.
I sent it and I was like trying to figure out, how do I sign up for this? I think I did it right, but I'm not sure. I got
Yeah, you just got to download the app and you should be on if we sent you the link.
I haven't,
So
yeah,
it's a great opportunity. The fireworks booth provides a lot of funding for some of the stuff that we do. It pays for some of the overtime for the fireworks show that we do on July 1st for the, and it does fund some of that, but mainly it funds a lot of the activities that we enjoy as a family here, as a fire family, with our fire team. We did one trip to Six Flags, and we're doing another trip August 5th. So if you want to go, sign up for that. Pays for your entrance and for you and your family, and then they have food and everything there. It's a buffet style type, all you can eat. We do that. We got hockey will be coming up again. We do hockey, and then we got the dinner, obviously. So fireworks booth, if you want to participate in that or come by and buy your fireworks or something of that nature, Behind the Fire does a phenomenal job with that. They're going to be doing that. We provide all of the storage and handling of the fireworks, and they do all the selling. So it's a team effort. And then I just want to let the board know, we've had a couple issues with how we're trying to figure out the relationship with our neighbor up north and with French Camp. And so we've had some complications with that. And so we're going to be looking at, and I'm going to be bringing back to you, unless the board wishes for me to stop, an opportunity to consolidate, that go to LAFCO and force the consolidation of Lathrop-Manteca with French Camp. So we'll look at opportunities, how we're going to be able to provide when you have 2 organizations serving one city, it's become a problem. And so it's become an issue with relationships and who's going to the call and what's not going to the call. We're responding over there. We responded twice today over there. And so we feel that maybe there may be an opportunity for us to join our relationship with there. And we don't know what we don't know with that, so we're going to be looking at it, and I'll bring it back to you, anything I learn. It's not going to be a scheduled item anytime soon, but I'll be working with LAFCO to see how that works. Okay? That's all I have.
I had a quick question. How many people on the captain's list?
So we went outside too. We got some candidates from the outside. So I believe there was 8? 10. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, Chief, actually, if you want to come up and speak to it, because Battalion Chief Capper, he headed the whole thing up. I barely got the list and looked at it and made an appointments.
Yeah, so we had a total of 16 applicants, 15 made it to the written test, and then 10 made it to the oral assessment lab and made it onto the list. So there's about 5 internal and 5 external candidates on the list.
And do we generally promote order of the list?
We use the rule of 3. So I can pull 3 people in for each position. And we have actually a policy on that. Because at some point it wasn't done to the best equity to both the union and the administration at some point. So there's a policy that's on that we have to follow, how that goes, how actually they get, even the rule of 3, how it works. So we pay close attention to that, to not violate anybody's rights. But I think we've got some good candidates on there. I think it'll be a good selection. It's just, I think it's because I'm getting old. They just seem so young, you know?
I know that feeling.
And I look at it and go, oh, man, boy, you know? But we've got a good succession plan in place. I think that with acting captains and we give everybody an opportunity, hopefully we're going to work out that more people have opportunities to be an acting captain, and then they ride behind. They're running as a company with a captain. So they're able to do all the work, share all the workload, and be able to respond with that comfort level of having a captain that's next to them. So I think we're doing a great deal of effort to provide that. So
all of the acting captains, of course, are in-house?
yes,
Yeah, because there's no way for an outsider to be an acting officer.
correct.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Is that it, Chief?
That's it.
Any board comments or referrals?
Of course.
I'm sorry, I did have another page.
Go
One
for
more.
it.
I'm sorry. July 1st, Lathrop celebration. You can be there. We'll have tickets again for food for the families, fire families, to be able to eat there. They have vendors that'll be there. We'll have tickets for you guys. Bring your family down. We'll give you tickets, and you go up and get food. Another thing that Behind the Fire is providing for us, another opportunity for us to celebrate our fire family.
What time is that at?
That starts at 6, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Might want to come a little early and get some seating. At the Generation Center, yes, thank you. And then the CSDA Special Leadership Conference is the 8th through the 11th. And
I already went.
you already went?
I'm signed up.
You signed up? And then I think Gloriana signed up, and myself, and yeah, I think we're in good shape.
Everyone should go. Because they've changed it and then allowing those who've gone before to get a whole lot more and different information.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's always good to be up on top of whatever their laws and rules and regulations that we need to, for our board and for the administration. So it's a good opportunity. Now I'm done.
Board referrals and comments. Go ahead, Bob.
Now I got stuff. All right, so fireworks booth.
Yes.
It's a lot of work, so Behind the Fire, good on you. I'm glad you're doing it, because I remember those days, you know,
Yeah.
where we put in a lot of time when it first came out, and it takes a lot of effort. So if they ask you to volunteer, volunteer. Is CERT going to be involved? Did they get their little app?
Not yet. So we didn't want to just send that out because a lot of people get it and go, I'm not signing up for that. And then some people are like, remove me from this app. So we reached out and we got a list today of all of the CERT people, everybody. And so we're sending them a text or an email and saying, hey, if you want to join, let us know and give us your cell number. And then we send them the link to the app. So it's going to be slower, but it'll be a process to get it done.
Yeah, because it's, you get it and you're like, okay, am I doing it the right way? Am I going to get notices now? How it's going to work and all that stuff.
And you can shut those off, right? Because it does, when people start communicating on there, it starts sending notices, but you can go into settings and shut them down, and then that way you can just look at it when you want to review it. The main thing is the calendar. It puts all the events that they schedule. We did a movie night at the fire station for the fire families. And so you could bring your family down. We barbecued. We had it catered from Fagundes, brought catering down there. And then we blew up the screen from the city out there. And then it was movie night, and the kids had a great time, and popcorn and, more stuff that I shouldn't have ate, that's for sure. But it was a great time. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to continue to do, and bring that relationship that is so sought after in our organization.
Good. Now, on staffing, I had a question about staffing. So we do the captains. At some point, with backfill, engineers are going to pop up. Then we got backfill engineers, and then whether or not the firefighters have enough experience behind, to be able to get behind the wheel. There's going to
You're absolutely right. So that's our next test, is for engineer. We'll be probably over the next 6 to 8 months, we'll be looking at providing that. So we benefit from our reserve program. We benefit in the sense that we get a lot of people that we hire from that program because they do well in the testing process. and we give preference points to our reserves that spend time with us. When they test, with our program, we have the opportunity for you to be an engineer out at one of our stations. You can actually be a reserve firefighter engineer and learn all those skills of pumping and utilizing different aspects of the apparatus. So that gives people an opportunity. So we've hired some of those, so we have those. But then we hire people that are from CAL FIRE that have experience on engines. We have other individuals that have experience behind a wheel and using fire apparatus. And now that we've segregated the captains, engineers, and firefighters, because it used to be just firefighter engineer. Now that we have that specifically segregated, we'll be doing it engineers. Typically, you start as a firefighter and then you immediately learn how to pump, drive, and do all that. Well, now it's separated. Now you're a firefighter for 3 years, and if you want to move on, then you have to test to be an engineer, and then you go another 3-year step that you can get to increase your monetary bring home. And so we're moving through that. The 9 we hired kind of filled in the blanks, and now we just need to do the promotions and shuffle them around to get them all set. But there will be potentially 3 more individuals, 3 to 4 people that we'll be hiring in probably the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, so it's letting the people at home, if you're thinking about this is a career, you got to think early.
Yeah.
You have to look at and listen to what we're saying about 3 years, 5 years, down the road and start putting in your time. If you want to be an engineer, there's operator 1A, 1B, and there's things you have to do, not just, I'm going to drive.
Oh, yeah. No,
because you can drive and hit something, and then we're all in trouble, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
All right.
very good.
Just a quick reminder, so I leave this week, and I'll be back before the board meeting in July.
Oh, good.
So I will be diving, so I will be out there in the Gulf, under the sea. I need to get away and get to the quietness of 60 to 90 below, so I won't be available. Don't call me, don't text me.
They have it so your cell phone can go down.
I know, I know. We also have comms that I broke one year,
Oh, yeah, I remember
that can go from the boat to underneath, so, yeah, they're all shaking their head, yeah, I remember, yeah, I remember too. So, anyway, so I won't be available, but I'm looking forward to it. So that's all I have.
I'll be here, but I don't want his calls, so. But other than that, I'm good. No comments.
No, nothing. Or,
Closing real quick, I did give you each a copy of the evaluation. My evaluation is up.
Right.
I'm gonna have Haley Salazar send that to you also through email. So, but it sounds like, I think you were worried that you might not be here for that, but it sounds like everybody's gonna be here for the next meeting.
I'll be
So
back.
just review it and, give me all great outstanding scores and bring it back.
It looks like that all the rating factors had to do with our SWOT, so.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's what we base it on, right? You give me direction through the SWOT, how you want this organization ran, and I either meet it or I don't meet it, and or I kind of meet it. I think we gave you a couple different variables, how you can judge whether I accomplished the task at hand, and then we move forward.
with no other business, meeting's adjourned till July 19th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.